Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
We know that protein is a very important part of our diet, and it's key to making sure that we maintain muscle mass, especially as we grow older. What's interesting is that oftentimes we overlook the power of plant-based proteins when it comes to refueling our body and, of course, maintaining skeletal muscle strength and muscle mass. So today I want to talk about our organic plant protein powder. This really packs a punch. It is a wonderful alternative for folks who maybe are vegan or vegetarian, or perhaps you just want to change things up and have a wonderful exposure to powerful amino acids and branched-chain amino acids, which we know are key and essential to maintaining that muscle mass and strength as we grow older. I am Dr. Amanda Williams, Scientific Director at Invite Health, and when it comes to our diet, many times people maybe get too much protein, and this can be detrimental to the health of our kidneys. So we have to understand why protein in the diet or protein via supplementation is key, but the proper way to actually achieve this. We know that for the average adult, we need roughly about 60 grams of protein each day. Now, the key thing is that we want to disperse that throughout the course of the day. We don't want to sit down and have one very high, heavy protein filled meal. So the reason why this is because we know that this can be problematic, especially for those who maybe have lowered kidney function or chronic kidney disease. So the kidneys need time to be able to filter through and properly utilize those amino acids that are derived from the protein itself. And so when we're looking at protein intake, we look at this being evenly dispersed over the course of the day, which is why generally speaking, we think about 3 meals a day. Now, many times when you're thinking about protein, we only think about protein coming from animal-based proteins. We've all been told, eat your red meat, eat your chicken, turkey, all of that. But we know that nature also provides a wonderful source of powerful proteins coming from plant-based nutrients. So with our brand new formulation that we have out, our plant protein, this contains the power of chia seed and flaxseed and pea protein and hemp protein. And hemp protein is a really great source of those branched-chain amino acids, the same thing with pea protein. So when we're looking at our plant protein formulation, this is going to yield you 20 grams of protein per serving. So remember, if we go back and we think about dispersing our protein intake throughout the day, having one plant protein shake is enough protein to cover one of those meals throughout the day. So this is a very important takeaway. This also contains pumpkin extract, so another wonderful source of the power of amino acids that are derived from plant sources. So we always want to think about these things, especially for those who maybe are vegan or vegetarian, where perhaps your protein intake isn't as high as it needs to be. So having a scoop of the plant protein powder, mixing that in with whatever milk alternative you would like. You can add in fruits if you would like, put it in, make a smoothie. This is a really good way to power up and refuel the body once again. Because remember, the amino acids are not just for maintaining muscle mass and building strong muscles. We know that those amino acids are key and essential to so many different functions in the body, from blood glucose regulation, blood pressure regulation, the way that we feel every day with our mood, for example, is all highly reliant on those key amino acids, which is why we always want to make sure we're getting good exposure to a broad range of those amino acids each day. We also know that they help to stabilize our B vitamin status in our system, which is also very, very important. So when you start to look at the science behind these different nutrients, it's really quite impressive. And if you're thinking about using the plant protein powder containing that hemp extract. We know that that hemp protein is not only a powerful way to get a wonderful amount of amino acids into the system, but it also is promoting anti-inflammatory response in the system. So it helps to lessen inflammation, which is always a good thing. In the Journal of Biomolecules in 2020, they talk about this. They talk about how hemp seed has this wide variety of chemical compounds which present these different biological activities in the human body when we are consuming them. And we know one of the ways to which they work is to really help downregulate a lot of those negative inflammatory pathways that can drive up systemic inflammation. We always want to try to avoid that at all cost. And so having 1 scoop of the plant protein powder is a great way to not only support muscle mass, energy, of course, blood pressure, looking at blood glucose regulation, but also to regulate a proper inflammatory response. Now, when we're looking at the physiochemical and the functional properties of hemp, this is really quite impressive. In the Journal of Agriculture of Food Chemistry, back in 2006, they looked at this. They looked at all of the different amino acids that are contained within the hemp protein itself, and they could see a very high amount of those very important branch-chain amino acids that help to maintain our muscle mass. We always want to avoid any loss of muscle mass as we grow older because we don't want to succumb to, becoming frail. So sarcopenia is the actual medical term. So when we're partnering up the brown rice protein with the pea protein and the hemp protein and the pumpkin protein, you can start to see that you're getting this wonderful amino acid composition into your daily routine. In the Journal of Foods in 2014, they looked at organic brown rice protein concentrate and the power of supplementation of that brown rice protein when it comes to allowing for better functionality of muscle fibers. So once again, we know that we can turn to nature. We don't always have to think about animal-based proteins. We know that there are many alternatives out there, and now you've got the ability to supplement up every single day with the power of our plant protein powder. And it's very easy to digest. So this is key for some folks who maybe have a hard time with, maybe a whey protein isolate or whey protein concentrate. Maybe you just don't do so great with whey formulations. This is a wonderful alternative, excellent way to make sure that we are getting that good exposure to powerful amino acids, those branch-chained amino acids in particular, which include valine, leucine, and isoleucine. These are very important to really allow the muscles to have the ability to energize up, refuel, so that we're not having that muscle fatigue or just that sense of muscle weakness. And so we can achieve this through having 1 scoop of the plant protein each day. It is a very popular formulation for many folks who, as I mentioned, maybe are doing a more vegetarian or plant-based diet, and they still want to make sure that they are getting adequate exposure to those very important proteins each and every single day. So remember, 1 scoop gives you 20 grams. And when you think about how much protein you should have in a single day, it's roughly about 60. So if we have, say, a scoop of that plant protein at lunchtime or a scoop of that plant protein maybe at dinner. Maybe you're just having a lighter dinner, more plant-based, more just vegetables, for example. Having that scoop of that plant protein in the evening would be incredibly advantageous. And so I wanted to highlight this particular product for you so that you are aware of the fact that we do have options when it comes to plant-based proteins. There are a lot of, selections that you can choose from, but the reason why ours is formulated the way that it is, with that wonderful, powerful blend of the pea protein and that brown rice protein, the pumpkin, the flax, the chia, all is designed to give you the highest potency of that broad amino acid spectrum. So definitely check it out. Go to our website, invitehealth.com. Check out the plant protein powder. Of course, if you want to have different recipe ideas, you can speak with one of our nutritionists. They are always there to help guide you in that process. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Now do make sure that you subscribe, you leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.